broader national question on whether development is being delivered or politically packaged. That's our conversation this morning. That even as we have a conversation about the legality or the constitutionality of the president launching the various projects he's been launching across the country, the question whether indeed they are real projects or just political rebranding is a conversation the majority of Kenyans are having this morning. The markets that have been launched across the country, the roads that have been launched across the country. Does the president have the mandate to launch and inspect all these projects? We'll look at the case points this morning, especially in Kisii, where a 1 billion shillings project has been promised to the residents. We ask the questions of what the county mandate is when it comes to the relation between national projects and county projects. Talk to us at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. My name is Simba. Elijah Charles Kiangi. We are online at Look Up TV again across all of them. The hashtag is The Morning Drift. Like we always begin, let's jump in and look at our dailies this morning. And I'm going to begin with the Daily Nation as usual. See exactly what we have covered on the daily. Pardon me as I bring it up. Good, here it is. Now, this is what the Daily Nation is talking about this morning. It's talking about why civil servants are rejecting SHA. It's talking about how teachers, civil servants, doctors, they're looking at exactly what they are bound to pay. Now, teachers outpatient cover capped between 1,200 and 4,000, forcing cash payments. That's it. Like, as a teacher, you can't spend more than 4,000 shillings when you go in for treatment. There is no recourse after exhausting medical cover, with ex gratia payments scrapped. All right. There's also fraudulent claims linked to purported relatives teachers don't know about. Okay, we stop it there. There's also civil servants, now outpatient cover limited to between 1,200 and 4,000, forcing cash payments as well. All right. There's also limited cover, including dental and optional, despite double payments in lost medical allowance and SHA deduction. There's also doctors, 4,000 as the outpatient limit, insufficient as amount barely covers consultation fee. There's hospitals owned by SHA delaying salaries for medics. There's also contributors blocked from services every month on the 9th over unremitted SHA fee. Now, this is why civil servants and teachers have rejected the SHA medical scheme across the country. That story has been covered on page 4 and 5. There's also a story here on Sifuna Orengo's ODM camp roars in Kisumu. That story has also been covered on page 7. All right. They were led by Secretary General Edwin Sifuna and Siaya Governor James Orengo. Yesterday, they stormed Kisumu, the first visit to the party's Luo Nyanza support base, with a message that it was the custodian of the ideals of its founder, Raila Odinga, who died last October. Good. Now, this is good news. Sebastian Sawe's historic marathon run in under 2 hours wins world prizes. Congratulations, really, to him this morning. That story has been covered on page 44. Trending news on how a gunman who turned out to be a teacher attacked Trump event ahead of the King Charles III visit. Good pictures there of Siaya Governor James Orengo addressing supporters at the Kabor grounds in Kisumu yesterday, as the Linda Mwananchi faction used the gathering to assert its presence in the Orange Democratic Movement's traditional Nyanza stronghold ahead of the 2027 general elections. That's your Daily Nation this morning. Let me then cross over to the Standard. Let's see what we have here as well on the Standard. It's talking about a triumphant entry. That is Kisumu roared back to life as the Linda Mwananchi faction led by James Orengo, Babu Owino and Edwin Sifuna stormed the city and crushed attempts to block their rally. Now, crowds of overwhelmed guns tore down barricades and cleared the way for a defiant procession. Speaker after speaker tore into the government, accusing it of failure and reigniting anti-Ruto chants. Now, the rally revived the spirit of Raila Odinga and exposed a fierce battle of his base, leaving William Ruto and Oburu Oginga facing a restless and convinced stronghold. That story has been covered on page 4. Good. On page 4 and 5 of the Standard, we have malaria's slow decline in Kisumu. Once the leading cause of child hospital admissions, malaria is now becoming less deadly owing to access to vaccines. Story covered on page 4 and 5. Now, story here of Sawe shatters sub 2-hour marathon barrier, becoming the first human to run below the 2-hour mark. Story has been covered on page 40 of the Standard this morning. Good. Now, that's exactly what it is that you're waking up to on your dailies. Majority of them are also covered on our social media platforms. That is at Lookup TV across all of them. On that note, let's then cross over and see what you are waking up to in terms of your trends. Well, and this is how we're going to start this morning. Going to show you pictures of Edwin Sifuna and his Linda Mwananchi entourage that was in Kisumu this weekend. I mean, those pictures there would show you how multitudes thronged to that stadium, all the way from the streets to the stadium where they held that rally. Let me just read a couple of comments here from Kenyans who watched, who were parts of that rally. This is Kwimwai, who sang, "By force, by fire, the message hit home. The information is no longer just words, but has become relevant, undeniable, and deeply personal to all concerned." Good. Let me just read a couple of reactions again. Here we go. Baba has risen. This is Shenu, who sang, "Baba has risen, Kango Kajaramogi Shrines." Hii ilikuwa kubwa, and indeed it was a big gathering. Don Fan Nyadera was saying, "You are doing well, but the day you will join Gachagua team, my friend, it'll never be the same." All right. Mike will say, "I was there today, and Omwami Sifuna Mbele iko sawa. Those who have eyes, let them see. Nasi zile machos madafu power. The spirit of Baba lives on." Good. That's how it was in Kisumu, where the Linda Mwananchi faction really hit on the government and castigated them for not fulfilling the promises, especially starting with the 10-point based agenda that saw the handshake between former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and the current president, Dr. President William Ruto. We move on to another issue this morning. Now, DCP party has put a notice to all aspiring candidates of the Ol Kalau by-election DCP party ticket. DCP party wishes all aspirants the very best, but that's not what has got Kenyans talking. What has got Kenyans talking is the amount of money that you're going to pay for you to run on their ticket, which stands at 250,000 shillings. And this is what they say, that all interested aspirants must complete and submit the official application form, attach all required supporting documents, and provide proof of payment of the prescribed nomination fee. And that is 250,000 shillings general applicants and 125 shillings for youth and persons with disabilities. And that money has to be paid onto the DCP's account number, which is this on Equity. Good. So you need 250,000 then to run on DCP. And this is what Kenyans are talking about. Kibiriti Ngoma was saying, "Jubilee and smaller parties like PLP, DPPNU, and many others will kick you from Mount Kenya because of your hubris and bravado. You may end up with a maximum of 25 Mount Kenya MPs in 2027, even if most will be aligned to the opposition." All right, you're going to mess up the whole general elections with this Hebrews and bravado. Two-term is now reality. This is Gashao who's speaking this morning. All right, this is Chela who's saying, you fools, let's just get on with UDM matters. All right, Palisi who's saying UDA tickets are free. Ben Kioli who's saying greed will ruin this party. And John who's saying kiosk open and running. Should I say more? I mean, Kenyans have really weighed in on this particular issue. Now, I'll show you again some of the speeches that we got from the Linda Mwananchi faction in Kisumu this morning. And this one comes from James Orengo. Let's just listen in and then we come and see exactly what Kenyans are talking about it.
Orengo, si ametoka kuwa rais. Anaitwa James Orengo. Sasa kama tuko na James Orengo, ni msemo gani tunahitaji? Na mimi nataka kuunga mkono kwamba Mheshimiwa Orengo, wewe sasa ndio party leader wa ODM.
Wakasema hatuwezi ingia Vihiga hati kama sisi ni wanaume, kesho tuende Kisumu. Nataka niwaambie hapa ni wapi? Hapa ni wapi? Na kesho tuko wapi? Kesho tuko wapi? Wakasemeji ndani, si ndio? Kisha party leader. Sema party leader. Party leader wetu Mheshimiwa James Orengo.
And this is from Vihiga before they moved into Kisumu, right? And this is what Ibrahim Muhora is saying. To be honest, you're supported to be the ODM party leader even without campaigns or endorsements. I mean, what haven't you seen with Raila when he was alive? We have seen your efforts. You are the party leader, all right? This is to James Orengo. Paul Auko, confused fellas. Do you remember what happened to you in 2002 when you contested for the presidency? Kiptiaro Kimeto was saying it's quite predictable. You already left ODM and okay processes of forming a new party with Orengo as the party leader. Patrick Odera was saying, a man of people. We know you are the man Baba left. You with us. Well, be strong. I love your politics. Since you were coming, wow, I can't, it's not so clear what Patrick Odera is trying to communicate. There is a Jefferson Edward who's saying, to be truthful, James Bob Orengo should be an ODM party leader. Is a de facto ODM party leader. For us who've been in this party since Fort Kenya days, we endorse. That's what majority of Kenyans are talking about. Let's then cross over to another issue this morning on the historical moment that Sebastian Sawe became the first person ever to win a regular marathon in under 2 hours, setting a win record at London Marathon of 1:59:30. All right, we as Kenyans indeed invented this thing called long distance running. Let's take a look at that momentous picture, those videos right there when he finally crossed that line at 1:59:30. Let's take a look.
Just about him into the home straight. He's got over a minute or just under a minute to do this. You can do it. Come on, Sebastian. You can get this. History in the making. Under 2 hours. Nobody's ever done this. They said it couldn't be done. Sebastian Sawe is going to break the 2-hour mark. He's going to win the London Marathon in incredible style. And a historic performance, 1:59:30. Absolutely incredible. I've never seen anything like that. What a finish. That you would say is unbelievable, but we've just seen it. And conjuncture
was
probably under 2 hours as well. Paula's just confirming to me in second place. There he is, the two men.
That's history that now the country holds, you know. Proud to be a Kenyan, proud of one Sebastian Sawe this morning as a man who's carried the mantle of the country high. That's exactly what it means then to be part and parcel of what the world is talking about right now. 159.30, the first human being. Let me just read a couple of comments here. There's somebody called Kaka who's saying Kenyans will eternally dominate any arena that doesn't require teamwork, planning, or funding from the government or its rotten sports federations. As long as success hinges solely on raw individual talent, grit, and zero interference, will keep shining on the global stage. The manufactured bottlenecks, vicious gatekeeping, and calculated sabotage embedded in Kenya's organized sports, designed purely for political patronage and elite capture, are utterly revolting. Massive congratulations to David Munywa for claiming the World Darts Championship elite. Proof yet again. Strip away the corrupt middlemen and their toxic bureaucracy, and Kenya's excellence speaks for itself. I mean, I can't agree anymore as a Kenyan. I can't agree anymore. I can't agree anymore that this is the state of affairs in the country. Good. So final comment on this one. This is Mukulima Mdogo who's saying, no pesetas, no Ineos, no V-shaped to help reduce the wind. And so Sawe did wonders. We've been lied to before, Buana. No, not that we've been lied to before. He's just become the first man to do that. So the possibility is that now he goes into the Guinness World Book of Records as the first man to run sub 2 hours. Oof. You have to imagine how quick that guy is. Somebody told me yesterday he's quicker than Alto. Suzuki Alto. Kwa mlima hivi itaipita yote na iache nyuma. Alto imebeba watu wanne. As somebody's quote. Good. All right. Ruto was in Chuka yesterday as well. Let's just look at exactly what he said, read one or two comments before we take a break and come back with a main conversation this morning. All right.
Basi kwanza, ndugu zangu watu wa Chuka, mimi nimefika hapa leo kwa sababu nimekuja kanisani, lakini vile nimekuja kuhandoba hii soko ambayo tumejenga hapa ya watu wa Chuka. Inasemekana ahadi ni nini na dawa ya deni.
All right, let me just read. Eric Otieno who's saying kila mtu 2K na kila bora 4K. It's a good price to attend such a rally. After this, back to default. One term. That's what Eric Otieno is saying. In Mount Kenya, every crowd for Kasongo is hired. They will address themselves if they do not bribe the crowd. This is Gatumbi Francis. All right. Peter Rungu saying gari zilikuwa zimepakiwa wapi? Standing allowance lazima tukule, but ni one term. I'll stop reading these comments because I'm looking for anything that is positive in that sense. Well, I mean, it is what it is. Those are some of the comments that I've seen on this particular thread this morning. So finally then, let's end our, if I'm not wrong, that's the last trending issue that we have for you this morning. Yes, I'm not wrong. It's exactly where we are. Actually, we do have one, which is one Gladys Wanga, because the Linda ground, team was also on the ground this weekend.
Tutaingia kama equal partners. Na vitu vikiwekwa kwa meza itakuwa ni 50-50. Wale wakiwa na rais, ODM itakuwa na deputy president. Na sisi tukipata hiyo, tutaingia kwa kona kama wanachungwa. Choo na dosha doshi. Tutaingia tuzungumze kama wanachungwa na tuseme tuko na waziri namna hii, tuko na deputy president, chungwa yote itatembea namna gani katika kugawana hizo viti.
That's it. You hear, like when they're in Mombasa, they support Joe. When they're in Western, they support different guys so they can lure the crowd to the Linda Ground faction. This is Elanda, who's saying, before you bring the so-called Sultan, Madam, share with us an audit report from the AOG that cleared his administration where he served as Mombasa County Governor. All right, that's they're saying Githeri. This is a Jama Kiato at Githeri, Wanchomba. Who's saying, now these are the reformers we thought these are the reforms we fought tooth and nail to lead the country. They make Ruto look like an angel. Wakonanja kuruka. Right? This is beyond. We're saying ODM fronting Joho to deputize Kasongo. How will the Luo communities benefit? That's the question that they're asking this morning. Now, majority of these stories are also going to find their way into our show this morning. That is at Look Up TV across all our social media platforms. We take a tiny breather right here on the morning drift. Once we come back, we'll be getting into the main conversation this morning, which is essentially on the projects that have been launched across the country by the president. Once we come back.
I recall the doctor telling me that day, he said, Sarah, I'm sorry about what happened to you, but you see, life happens. You would have to learn to work with your hands, depend on your hands more.
And today, if you're going through anything that you do not understand, just call on this name, Jesus, and he will save you.
I realized I loved music when I was about 7 or 8. I used to puff my cheeks and play the 12-bar blues. Like I'd walk around the house doing like.
Why do we need the Holy Spirit?
I mean, if you look at what Jesus said when he was leaving, he said he is going and that he will send the Holy Spirit as our helper.
So God knows everything since the end, from the beginning, has a plan for your life. So to find that plan for your life, you must find God. When you find God, you will know the path for your life.
Is it for you to forgive someone who has hurt you?
How easy is it?
What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. Men look familiar. Have we met before?
No.
We met in
Nobody is buying that line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Look Up, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable,
tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza alikuwa na ria wasa wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed the life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
I recall the doctor telling me that day, he said, Sarah, I'm sorry about what happened to you, but you see, life happens. You would have to learn to work with your hands. Depend on your hands more.
And today, if you're going through anything that you do not understand, just call on this name, Jesus, and he will save you.
I realized I loved music when I was about 7 or 8. I used to puff my cheeks and play 12-bar blues. Like I'd walk around the house doing like...
Why do we need the Holy Spirit?
I mean, if you look at what Jesus said when he was leaving, he said he is going and that he will send the Holy Spirit as our helper.
So God knows everything since the end, from the beginning, has a plan for your life. So to find that plan for your life, you must find God. When you find God, you will know the path for your life.
How easy is it for you to forgive someone who has hurt you?
How easy is it?
What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. They look familiar. Have we met before?
Oh.
We met in
Nobody's buying that line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
Do you need a dose of hope? If so, you are in the right place. We think of ourselves around here as hope dealers, delivering truth, power, and inspiration to hearts and minds all over the world. If nothing else has worked for you, why not give the God thing a try? For it's in the presence of God that you'll find everything that you need. Amen.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki, na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu, wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza alikuwa na ria wasa wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
I recall the doctor telling me that day, he said, Sarah, I'm sorry about what happened to you, but you see, life happens. You would have to learn to work with your hands, depend on your hands more.
And today, if you're going through anything that you do not understand, just call on this name, Jesus, and he will save you.
I realized I love music when I was about 7 or 8. I used to puff my cheeks and play the 12-bar blues. Like I'd walk around the house doing like...
Why do we need the Holy Spirit?
I mean, if you look at what Jesus said when he was leaving, he said he is going and that he will send the Holy Spirit as our helper.
So God knows everything since the end, from the beginning, has a plan for your life. So to find that plan for your life, you must find God. When you find God, you will know the path for your life.
How easy is it for you to forgive someone who has hurt you?
How easy is it?
What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. Men look familiar. Have we met before? No. We met in
Nobody's buying that line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria watu wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
I recall the doctor telling me that day, he said, Sarah, I'm sorry about what happened to you, but you see, life happens. You would have to learn to work with your hands, depend on your hands more.
And today, if you're going through anything that you do not understand, just call on this name, Jesus, and he will save you.
I realized I love music when I was about 7 or 8. I used to puff my cheeks and play 12-bar blues. Like I'd walk around the house doing like...
Why do we need the Holy Spirit?
I mean, if you look at what Jesus said when he was leaving, he said he is going and that he will send the Holy Spirit as our helper.
So God knows everything since the end, from the beginning, has a plan for your life. So to find that plan for your life, you must find God. When you find God, you will know the path for your life.
How easy is it for you to forgive someone who has hurt you?
How easy is it?
What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. Men look familiar. Have we met before? No. We met in
Nobody's buying that line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza alikuwa na ria wasi wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
How easy is it for you to forgive someone who has hurt you?
How easy is it?
What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. Men look familiar. Have we met before? No. We met in
Nobody's buying that line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
Back to the morning drift. My name is Simba Elijah Charles here again. For the next 1 hour, we're going to look at a conversation that has gripped majority of Kenyans. It's just about the president. The question we're asking this morning is whether indeed the project is launching or relaunching majority of development projects across the country, and that's why it's been on the spot. Now let me give you some background on this topic this morning. Now over the past 1 month, the president has intensified development tours across the country, with key stops in Kisii, Kwale and Murang'a. Yesterday, it was in Chuka. Now these tours have housing units, road infrastructure, digital innovation hubs, electrification programs, markets and vocational training centers. In Murang'a alone, projects running into tens of billions were highlighted, with the president stating that development must not stall and that every part of the country must be connected to opportunity through infrastructure and electricity. Now, Kenya's constitution establishes 2 levels of government with distinct roles. That is, the Kenya national government is responsible for national infrastructure, policy direction, large-scale programs. County governments handle local infrastructure such as, and this is important for you to note, markets, health facilities, and local roads. I'm going to repeat. Kenya's constitution establishes 2 levels of government with distinct roles. That's what it says. Now, the national government is responsible for national infrastructure, policy direction, and large-scale programs. That's what it does. Now, county governments handle local infrastructure, such as markets, health facilities, and local roads. At the same time, members of parliament, through the NGCDF funds, support schools and constituency level projects. Now, this structure creates overlap, particularly when projects are launched or commissioned by different leaders. While the president has the mandate to inspect and commission national projects, concerns arise when projects funded through local structures are presented as national initiatives, creating a gap between legal roles and political visibility. That's where it begins. Because over this past weekend, now, in Murang'a, there's an incident involving President William Ruto. During his tour of Kiharu, the president commissioned a technical and vocational college project, only for residents to point out that the same facility had already been launched earlier by the area member of parliament, Ndindi Nyoro. Now, reports of a covered plaque being exposed on site quickly turned the moment into a national talking point. And that's why we have this conversation this morning. Just before I introduce the guest who's joining us this morning, President Dr. William Ruto has also been on a charm offensive. He's in Chuka, was in Chuka yesterday, and he promised to deliver a market that he had promised the people of Chuka. Let's watch him and then come back and look at the topic this morning.
Waswahili wanasema hayawi hayawi. Ni leo ama si leo bwana? Ni leo ama si leo? Basi kwanza, ndugu zangu watu wa Chuka, mimi nimefika hapa leo kwa sababu nimekuja kanisani, lakini vile vile nimekuja kuhandover hii soko ambayo tumejenga hapa ya watu wa Chuka. Inasemekana ahadi ni nini? Na dawa ya deni tulikubaliana.
All right, that is the president speaking to the residents of Chuka about a market that he had promised them, and he said that the market is going to get delivered. Good. This morning then, let me introduce Augustine, Omondi, a man who's not been in the studio for some time now. How are you doing, sir? Mashemeji Dabi, I saw you yesterday. Your voice is quite coarse this morning.
Us happy as men.
Few will understand the happiness that comes with winning a derby, or the happiness that comes with being league leaders at Arsenal. Okay, we stop there. Good. Now, questions that we're going to ask this morning is a case that has put the president on the spot. Everywhere the president is going, Augustine, everywhere. You can take him back a month. In fact, let me just give you a couple of promises that is given to Kenyans. Now, over the past 1 month, the president has intensified development tours across the country with the key stops in Kisii, Kwale, and Murang'a. These tours have featured the commissioning and launch of projects spanning affordable housing units, road infrastructure, digital innovation hubs, electrification programs, markets, and vocational training centers. No, in Murang'a alone, he promised projects running into tens of billions that were highlighted, with the president stating that development must not stall and that every part of the country must be connected to opportunity through infrastructure and electricity. Now, this is what the Kenyan Constitution states, and you and I will look at it this morning so that even as we look at this issue, we look at it fundamentally from a black and white perspective. Now, the Kenyan Constitution establishes two levels of government with distinct roles. The national government, according to the Kenyan Constitution, is responsible for national infrastructure, policy direction, and large-scale programs. Then county governments handle local infrastructure such as markets, health facilities, and local roads. But at the same time, also members of parliament have the NGCDM funds that support schools and constituency level projects. Now, the confusion that normally follows this is that when these roles kind of overlap, particularly when the president has the mandate to inspect and commission national projects, concerns arise when these projects are funded through the National Infrastructure Fund and presented as national initiatives. What is the president doing, Augustine? Is he campaigning and looking at any project that he might hang on and say that the government has delivered this? Or in reality, the president is indeed doing what the Constitution gives him power to do as the president of the Republic of the country, overseeing and commissioning national infrastructure, policy direction, and large-scale programs. Why are people talking? From where I'm seated, the president is doing absolutely nothing wrong.
You see, when we talk about the separation of power and giving the devolution a voice in terms of developments, in terms of roles, in terms of doing very many things for the people of Kenya, again, you find that Kenyans will always forget the roles of the governors and push that responsibility to the president. Because when the president was campaigning to become the president, there's a lot that he promised people through even the markets. They were in the manifesto of, I think, UDA. And they say that we build these markets. And know that these markets were not there. These markets, some of them were even launched by Uhuru Kenyatta. Some of them were even started by Uhuru Kenyatta. And you find that most of the projects that maybe the president is relaunching from what you can hear is that maybe the project stalled, or maybe they change the contractor, or maybe on such issues. And because even since until now, if you can do your research, basically you will find that the president have relaunched almost 450 roads that were left by Uhuru government that stalled. And you will find that even if you look at the projects like Alutalala, it was stalled. It is stalled. Though it was launched by the Uhuru government, it stalled. But when he came to power, the administrative issues were changed, were looked up to, the contractor was changed. So you find that there must be a defining role, because the aim is to deliver to the people of Kenya to ensure that no Kenyan is complaining of the development agenda. What now the national government needs to agree with the county government is that the national government funds this county government. There is a certain amount they are given per financial year.
Yes.
So that they are able to do their activities as per the county. So if the markets are the county, at what point do now the president comes to launch market at the county? What happens? Where was the governor? Because those are the responsibilities of the county government, launching markets, building markets. And you see, even if the president wanted to implement it properly, it could have done it through the county government, through the governor's office, to ensure that now this is what we promise the people. Now you guys as the county government, how many markets do you want? We'll pump these funds into your account so that you are able to do it. But again, you find that politically, politically, you find it that when the president wants to go into a certain area, there is a procedure on how these projects come into play, because they'll call the leaders on that area. What do you want? What do the people want? The people will say, the president, we launched here a market. It has not been built. There is a road here that was launched. It was not built. People are asking, what do we do? So the president asks now the people in the infrastructure department, what do we have funds for these particular projects? Why have they not been built? Then from there now, this people gives the president, this is the list of things that we'll want to have in this particular time. These are the people now who now throws the president into the forest of relaunching these projects, because some of the projects that the president are given to relaunch have already been launched by him. It is now him to have the record and say that he should now that we assume for him to be a smart politician, he should have the records of what he has launched and what he has not launched, so that he's not relaunching what he has launched, because he will be given, if you are brought into a road like this one and you are launching today, and tomorrow again you are given the same road to launch, it means there are some people that are playing with you, with your character, before an image, before the Kenyan people who are seeing you relaunch them. So I think the president also in his whole capacity as the president, he should relook what he is launching. He should not just launch everything that has been presented by him. He should be able to account to Kenyans that this is what I launched. The reason why I'm relaunching it now is because of A, B, C, D. Maybe it was not redone. But if for example, there are administrative or let me say financial issues, I don't see the need of the president relaunching the same project. Let the internal planning be done in terms of, can we have the project, the contractor replaced? Can we have the funds reallocated? Let the road be done. Let the president now come to officially open the road, but not come to relaunch the same road. Because if we continue in that particular trajectory, we are seeing a possibility of the president relaunching one project 10 times by 2027. And it's not good for his image and for the people of Kenya. He makes him appear as a liar, because people want to see new things that have been launched, and the old things that were launched to be done and to complete. So right now, the president should be going for the completion of the projects that he launched on when he started this government like 2 years ago. Okay. But he shouldn't be going for the same projects to relaunch them again, because if he's relaunching now, by 2027, it means we'll not be having anything, because he's relaunching. He's not commissioning that we have built this road, this is it. We have built this market, this is it. This is Donkokundu, we have finished it, this is it. Because we want to see these projects being completed. Because by the time the president is launching a project, funds have already been allocated for that particular project. It has been noted that this road is built. Do we have funds? Yes, we have funds. Because we don't want this situation of the president appearing with the tractors on the ground, and when he's leaving, these tractors lives with them. It creates a very bad image of this government, regardless of the efforts they are making to change the lives of Kenyans.
Pretty much. Good. Now, the next question that the critics who are listening to this morning are asking, what is wrong with the president launching these projects by himself? And the question that I have for you this morning as well, Augustine, on this particular point is that under what pressure is the president under, in that in everywhere he goes across the country currently as it is, he must come in and say, I've brought this project for you. I've brought this road for you. I'm going to construct this hospital for you. I mean, what pressure is he under? Can he not just talk about policy? Because policy is also one of his mandates. He has majority members of parliament in parliament. Can't he come in and say, we've changed this policy from this direction to this direction? Address it as a national issue. Because it's not just about on project delivery. You can imagine that a government is a working government on a daily basis. Why does the president have the pressure to give each place he goes to, each county he goes to, each constituency he goes to, is giving them goodies? I don't know what pressure is he under.
You see, the president is under political pressure. And you see that political pressure is now what is misleading the president. And people might not see what he's doing. Reason being, we want a president that will be in office sitting planning on how these projects to be and how policies to be implemented, how we are attracting investors. We want to see, now you see we are having the issues, for example, the issues of, we have an investor from Tanzania, Aliko Dangote, now that wants to build a refinery in Tanzania. At what point did we stop being the East African priority? Because we have a port here, we have Changamwe port here that used to do refinery, right now is a storage point. Why don't he have that conversation with that investor from Nigeria, that instead of going to Tanzania and building a new project, we have a project here, we have a place that we used to have refinery here. Can we have a collaboration and revive it? I think the president should stop moving on top of cars, launching this project. Some of these projects can be done, can be relaunched by CS, can be relaunched by governors, can be relaunched by MPs, because when he's going into all these counties and relaunching these projects, what will be the governors doing? What will be the CS doing? What will be the MPs doing? It means that he's crippling these particular leaders for him to appear as if he's doing a good job. Someone should tell the president that going and launching this project does not mean that he's working. Him working is people seeing these projects come into completion, and maybe him going to these particular areas to commission these projects. He should stop launching these projects as of now. Yes. He should focus on commissioning these projects that have been completed. And that is the only thing that can make him leave State House or Arambe House to go to maybe Kirinyaga to launch, maybe to commission a market, but not to launch. Because we have more bigger problems as Kenyans that the president should focus on as compared to launching markets, because we have other leaders that should do that. And above it, even if you attach it to taxpayers' money, if the president leaves here to go to Kirinyaga, maybe to go and launch a market that maybe will cost 3 million. What is the cost of that motorcade going to Kirinyaga? It's almost over 10 million per day. So the president should rethink his moves in terms of the impact and the image that he's creating for Kenyan people who voted for him. We didn't vote for him to be on top of cars. We want to see him work for Kenyans. Him working on of Kenyans is not launching these projects. Him working for Kenyans is not going to promise every area, every Saturday, every Sunday. No, we want to see him. We want to see our taxes come down. We want to see the policies that are favorable to Kenyans, so that we can work and ensure that we are paying taxes for him to work. But now you see the way and the direction that he's taking at the president of being on top of cars and launching, it is not anything near him delivering to the people of Kenya.
That's it. But is this also part of his mandate? What can you give to him in the course of his tours across the country? I mean, we've seen a lot of them, and there are plans for more as well over the coming weeks. What can you give to him that we can't sit here, Augustine, and say, well, we don't want to see the president on top of cars, but the president is a Kenyan citizen as well. He's a politician. He can be on top of these cars and be proud that the government has delivered this and this. But what can you give to him? What can make the president today be on top of the cars, Augustine, and say, this is where we are?
You see, delivery of what he promised has nothing to do with him being on top of cars.
Why not?
Because being on top of cars does not deliver what he promised. What he promised need policy and funds for those projects to be delivered. If a road has been built today, Kenyans will see that the road has been built today. We don't need the president to come and launch it or relaunch it for us to know that it was built. If an airport was going to be built, we don't need the president to go there on top of car. We want to see the airport being built. We are now having here Talanta Stadium that's being built. Everyone is seeing. It is in the public. He is delivering what he promised. We don't need him to go there every day to inspect and to see how it's happening, because it's already happening and Kenyans are seeing. The president should take that time, because remember, when the president goes to all areas every weekend relaunching, that's a taxpayer's money. And you see we are at a very tight spot as a country, whereby now using here the increased fuel and reduced fuel, they are just doing politics with us in the name of subsidies. Yes. The president should sit down and ensure that he is working to create better policy and attract investors that are better. We are seeing a situation whereby the investors, they are not fronting us as Kenyans as a place to invest in. They are talking about our neighbors. Now, you see, instead of us talking to Uganda and building a refinery in Uganda, we invited Uganda to buy 50% of our Kenya pipeline, and so that we can make money. Instead, we being strong industrial country in East Africa, we should be there like an outlet to this other country in terms of development, whereby they come and partner with us and we ensure that we invest in their economy so that Kenyans can benefit. But now you see, if you see investors coming to Kenya, but they're having conferences here, but they're saying we are not doing it here, we are doing it in another country. That should tell you a lot that there is a problem in terms of taxation or even in terms of policy on how the investors should be embraced and do things here in the country. So the president, those are the issues the president should focus on, because even if the president was to move the way he is moving, does not solve a problem. If he goes to an area and gives 20 million cannot solve the problems of those people. Why don't he direct this money? Call MPs from that area. What do your people want?
Yes.
This is what they want, A, B, C, D.
Yes.
Now take this money, go and do that particular thing. When those people are going to do those jobs, they will say, the president has sent us to this particular project. It's still the president has delivered. He doesn't need to go there all this time. Let him sit in the office and do something constructive for Kenyans.
Pretty much. Guess what? Once we come from this break, then Augustine has to answer this question, because the Kenyans were saying, if the rest of the country is campaigning, what would stop the president from campaigning? And if he's campaigning, then he should be talking about what his government has done for the last 3.5 years. And that's exactly what he's doing currently these days. Now, critics are saying, if the president goes on top of a vehicle and says, we've delivered this market that we promised 2 years ago, that is okay for the president to start talking about his track record, because we do know next year is a general election. But the question then becomes, are these development tours now part of early campaign strategy? And if so, what makes them right or wrong? Once we come back right here on The Morning Drift at Look Up TV, across all your social media platforms, your WhatsApp lines are right there on your screen. Talk to us at Look Up TV. Again, we shall talk to you as well. Good morning. See you on the other side of the break.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Look Up, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki, na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
Do you need a dose of hope? If so, you are in the right place. We think of ourselves around here as hope dealers, delivering truth, power, and inspiration to hearts and minds all over the world. If nothing else has worked for you, why not give the God thing a try? For it's in the presence of God that you'll find everything that you need. Amen.
Is it for you to forgive someone who has hurt you? How easy is it? What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. Men look familiar. Have we met before? No. We met in
Nobody's buying that. line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
I recall the doctor telling me that day, he said, Sarah, I'm sorry about what happened to you, but you see, life happens. You would have to learn to work with your hands, depend on your hands more.
And today, if you're going through anything that you do not understand, just call on this name, Jesus, and he will save you.
I realized I love music when I was about 7 or 8. I used to puff my cheeks and play the 12-bar blues. Like I'd walk around the house doing like...
Why do we need the Holy Spirit?
I mean, if you look at what Jesus said when he was leaving, he said he is going and that he will send the Holy Spirit as our helper.
So God knows everything since the end, from the beginning, has a plan for your life. So to find that plan for your life, you must find God. When you find God, you will know the path for your life.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Drift. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiange. Let's then chat the last part of our conversation this morning, and I'll take you back to what happened in Murang'a, that is in Kiharu constituency, where residents were sort of angered or concerned that the president launched a project that was already launched by Kiharu Member Parliament, Ndindi Nyoro. So the images that we're showing you this morning are the images that followed the exit of the president in Kiharu after launching a technical and vocational training facility that was already launched by the area member of parliament. Let's take a look at these pictures. Once we come back, Mr. Omondi and I will keep on talking about this issue. Well, I'm getting informed that the videos are not ready this morning, but once we have that particular clip of those Murang'a residents, I'll be showing to you as we continue with our broadcast this morning. Good. All right, let's take a look at it. I'm informed that we have it. All right, that's exactly what followed after he left. And for those who may want a translation this morning, the gentlemen who are right there are singing Kasongo ni muongo. For a translation, it means Kasongo is a liar. There are more pictures that we could have shown you this morning, because that particular plaque that had the president as the one who launched that particular project, apparently below that there were more engraving of the rightful person who launched that particular project, which then later led to what we've seen right there. Good. Now, Mr. Omondi, I mean, look here. This is what your critics this morning are telling you. The president has a right to campaign and talk to his fellow Kenyans. And so what is wrong with the president talking about the promises that he had made, or giving more promises, because he is still the president of the Republic of the country? So if he wants to launch more projects across the country, he can talk about them whenever he has a chance to do that.
Kenyans don't have a problem with the president launching new program or projects.
Yes.
The question Kenyans are asking: what is happening to what has already been relaunched? Are they done? Are they complete? Are they operational? Those are the things that Kenyans want to hear, so that when we don't want the president to relaunch a project on top of another project that has stalled, only to come back again and relaunch that was stalled, and again we'll come back again and relaunch another one that was launched on top of the one that was relaunched. You see, it's playing with gimmicks with our minds. Number two, you see, even if you look at the Kiharu issue, the people that are now taking the president to go and launch such a technical institution that was launched by Ndidi Nyoro, and it's not that the president is going to commission it, because what we expect the president to do is that, okay, MP for Kiharu, you've done a good job, you launched here an institution, it's being built. We as the government will pump funds to ensure that this school is done completely. Then the president now will come and commission it and hand it over to the people. Those are the things that we expect. But the people that tell the president to go and relaunch the same projects, politically, those people have deflated what he has done, because it is true. If you come and launch the same project today, and the project that people saw when it was being launched, of course, wewe ni mwongo. So that's why people are saying that Kasongo ni mwongo, and it is very true, because that is not what people expected. People expected the president to come and commissioning it, that the project has been done, it was launched by the KRU MP. As the government, we pumped this certain amount of money, the project has been done, we hand it over to the community. Now let people benefit from there. Those are the things that the people expect.
And this is also, and I'm sorry to cut you short, even before you put across your next point, and that this is also another pain point that the supporters of the president are putting towards you this morning. And it's that every time the president says, we are making plans, and that's policy, that we're going to set aside some money, we're going to go back to parliament and create an opening for this particular project, they say, you don't want to hear the president say that. You're calling him Mr. Promises. In fact, last week he was trending online when he says after 6 months is this, we're going to do this. After 1 year, this is exactly what's going to happen. He's realized that every time he talks about policy, which is entirely in his mandate as a president, you don't want to hear about it. You tell him, well, or you keep on telling us his promises. But now here he is then saying that market that we promised is here, I'm coming to launch it. You're also having a problem with it. So the president can't talk about policy. He also can't launch a project in the country. Augustine?
No. You see, the president critics are having problem with what the president is doing.
Yes.
Reason number one.
That's it.
These projects has already been relaunched.
Yes.
When he was talking about 6 months, when he came to power, when he started launching these projects, that was fair enough, because now he had to relaunch them.
Yes.
Right? What Kenyans expect as of now is him commissioning those projects. It means they are complete, not relaunching them again. No one is stopping the president from relaunching these projects. What people are saying that what you are relaunching now, we should be commissioning them now because they have already been done.
Yes.
That's what people are saying.
Yes.
We can't relaunch them twice. When you launch them twice, is a false promise, because you want to see these projects complete. You have a right to launch this market, but these markets, you've already launched them. And some of even this market that have been built here, they are not even, some of them are not even functional.
Yes.
If you go to Kagundo Road, there is a market there that's a taxpayer's money that is not doing anything. If you go to Kariakoya, there is a market here that is doing completely nothing. People have decided. So these projects that they are launching, are they aligning with the people of Kenya in terms of people who are doing business? Are these people ready to do business in this particular area? Or they are just building these projects and they are laying there unused? Those are the things that the government should say and sit down and say that this is what we launch initially. Actually, we realize this thing is not working. We are launching another thing that will subsidize what we have relaunched. But you can't launch the same thing twice. It paints the president with a bad image. People don't have a problem for a president to do politics. But right now, it is not a political time, regardless of what the opponents are doing. It's the time for them. The people that are doing politics outside there, they're the people that wants to take his position. Right?
Yes.
He should be working to counter what they are saying.
But he's doing exactly that.
What is he doing? What the president doing?
Yes.
What is he doing?
He's doing exactly what you've told him not to do. Get out of on top of vehicles. I mean, if your opponent is on top of vehicles saying you've done nothing, the best reaction I would imagine, Mr. Omondi, is for you to get on top of a vehicle and say, this is exactly what I've done.
No. You see, this president has his mouthpieces all over.
Yes.
From MPs, from people in government, from chiefs, everywhere that can say that this is what the president has done. We don't need the president to come to tell us today that this road has been built. No, we will see that the road has been built. And people will know that during your tenure, you built an airport.
Yes.
During your tenure, you built a stadium.
That's
during your tenure, we had a Riruni. You don't need to go to relaunch Riruni 3 or 4 times. No, because it's a project that is being done and people can see. What people are saying that what he's using a lot of energy to do and reply to his critics and the opposition who are looking for. He is campaigning while he's in power. He's campaigning for already what he has. What he should do is that he should work so that people of Kenya can gaze. Because people will say, okay, it is true that the president was not in these areas. Actually, if it was better enough, he can go and check the notes of Mwai Kibaki. Mwai Kibaki was never on top of these cars, but a lot of work was done. So it means there is a proof that the president does not need to be on top of cars and allow these projects for these projects to be done. He can still be there and implement and ensure that his people are doing this particular thing. Come 2027, people will go to his track record. Not how many times he visited Kihari, not how many times he visited Migori, not how many times he visited Lodwar, but people will see when the president was in power, what did he do for us? So that when he now goes on top of the vehicle to campaign against the people or against the opponents that are now looking for the same particular seats, he will be able to say that we promised this, it was done. We promised this, it was done. That time is coming. That time is not now. Yes. The time that we're having now is a completion time of what he promised. Because why is he promising new promises on top of the ones that are not complete? People want to see those projects completed so that even if the president is coming to Kauru, he's coming now to commission that it was done, but not what people having a problem with Simba is that the president is redoing what he has already done using the same taxpayers' money, because when the president goes somewhere to launch a project, he's using Kenyans' taxpayers' money. True. Right? If that project is not done and the president again comes after 5 months to relaunch the same project, who has suffered a loss? It is us Kenyans. So that's why we are saying, let the president do follow-up through the leaders, through the system. Not unless this government doesn't have a system and the president is the contractor, the president is the exchequer, the president is the finance guy, the president is the project coordinator person. If that is not the case, then the president should be somewhere issuing instructions for these people to deliver. If he wants to know that this particular, we have CS for the roads, let him come and brief the president. This is what you launched, it has not been done. We don't have funds. How do we get funds? Yes. The president finds out on how to get funds. And that is how things should work. That's why we have the CSS all over here to ensure that the work is done. If the president wants to do that work himself to ensure that he's supervising from the local road to going upwards, it means that he might not be able to deliver to the people of Kenya come 2027, because we'll have a lot of uncompleted promises on top of what he promised before he came to power that has not, and people will judge him on what he promised and he didn't deliver.
Pretty much. Good. Now, Gachagua has been speaking, and I will tell you exactly what he spoke this weekend. For former Vice President Rigathi Gachagua is pretty much saying, well, even some of these projects, that's the big national projects that have been launched in the country of late, it says that they're downright a lie. And this is what is pushed to the president. It's told him Mr. President, if you have the full contract for the construction of the Mount Rironi Summit, we can't find it anywhere. Please table it so that we can see that this is the contract that has been given out and this is the period that it's supposed to run under. Goes on to say that, well, other critics as well, not particularly regarding Gachagua, other critics who say that all these promises that the president is giving out, in one way or another, you have to track them in the national budget that is currently getting prepared as we wait for June to arrive. Yes, we do know we have a 4 trillion shillings budget, but then they say in one way or another, if you go down there and start tracking it, you will see there's a 1 billion shillings hospital that is supposed to be constructed in Kisii. That should be in the budget plan for 2026-2027. That Mount Rironi Summit Road should be in the budget plan for 2026-2027. That in one way or another, all these promises, they cannot be tracked, Mr. Omondi, when it comes at the budget plan that we do have currently as it is. Question this morning, have the opposition used these gaps enough to show Kenyans that indeed majority of what the president is talking about are either launches that he's got no control over or no oversight on how these are going to be conducted and completed, or, as you say this morning, just relaunches? Have they shown Kenyans enough that what the president is really riding on are projects that he shouldn't even be touching?
You see, the fact is that we don't have an opposition. That's a fact, because we don't want an opposition that, number one, is suffering leadership problems. That opposition is, I even saw the other day that Martha Karua actually stepped out of the united opposition. It means they are not united in terms of the voice, so the impact is very low. We don't want a position that runs a lot. We want a position that takes action. Call people to action. Let's go to the streets. We want to see the Baba kind of an opposition that puts the government to do and to act accordingly. And yes, now you see some of this opposition, the reason why their credibility is in question, because that the people who formed this government, these are the former deputy president, the people who formed this government. Even if you look at his statement when he was in this government, they were so bad, they were completely out of order by the time he was in this government. So he can't come today and claim to us and tell us that now I'm a saint, I've seen the bad things, I've decided I'm pushing for you. And we want to see him, now that he knows, we want to tell him that give us, we as Kenyans, we want to trust you as Rigathi Gachagua, but now tell us, give us a proper direction on how we can move forward. Give us an alternative solution. What should we do? These projects are not. And you see, Rigathi Gachagua should also be very fair with Kenyans, because the other day he was telling us how the road in Rironi, the tractors were when they were taken there, again they were removed, and that is not true. It means the opposition is also propagating propaganda, because if you go to Rironi, if you are coming from those sides of Western, you see the construction is going. If you go to other time, they told us, oh, Bomas was sold to. Right now, you see that it's being built. Talanta is being built here. So let's have the opposition that is realistic with issues, not opposition that is operating on bitterness based on what they know. They know that when we were in this government, we were eating when we were here. Now that we are outside, we are not getting anything. It is true these people are eating. Instead of telling us what really happened when they were in power and how the loopholes that were there, they want us to rant with them. We don't want an opposition that runs. We want an opposition that puts into check this government, that this ABCD should not be done, this ABCD should not be done. And that is the only way that we'll say that we are having an active opposition that put the government at check. And also the president. The president should be reasonable enough. If I was him right now, I'll stop launching all these projects. I'll sit down and keep quiet and work internally to ensure that everything that I have promised, I have a list of everything that I have promised to the people, even if they are not complete, but at least they are halfway, because you realize that he has completed many projects that were left by Uhuru government that were not completed. He's really tried. If you go to check his projects, he has really revived them to ensure that these projects continues. And even if you look at his time, I don't know why the president is panicking, because he's only in 3 years in office and he has done massive. Because if you look, this is the only government that is making impact in his first term. Most of the government in the past, starting even from the Kibaki government, they never made impact on their first term. They made much impact in their second term. That's when now they started working. Even with the Uhuru government, that's when you started seeing them working for the people. But this is the only government that have decided to take a risk and make an impact in his first term. So most of the things that have been mentioned, even if you go to Ruroni, you will see the construction that is going. Even if you are disputing, there's a project that is going. If you go to Bomas, there's a project that is going. If you go to at the river, Leather Park was revived, you can see it's going. If you go to Dongokundu, there is a project that is going. If you go to, there is a project for farming, I think Ghana, it's also going. It means that this is the government that have decided to try and deliver in his first year of governance. What is lacking that this government has panicked, is basing his development agenda based on what people are doing, because this government lacks people to voice what it is doing. So people are not seeing what they are doing. So the government should deploy more people to ensure that what they are doing is being put out there for people. There's a time that the Uhuru government did something called government delivers. It was put all over, government delivers, so that people can see that this is what the government promised, this is what the government delivered, this is what the government said, this is what the government delivered. But now this government is not doing it, forcing the president to do it on his own, as if that is his main responsibility. When now you are the president for all Kenyans, the opposition, and the people who are voted for you. But now you see, if you start politicking in a way that now you are answering critics, it means these projects that you are giving to the people, it is like a political, people don't deserve them. That's why you are going to each region and promise people A, B, C, D, because you think that you want people to make you want people to think that this, if the president doesn't come, this project is not. It is not like it is their constitutional right for you to deliver to them. It is like you are doing them a favor coming to launch a market that you promised. Deliver the market, because it's a constitutional right as per what we expected you to do as the president, as per your manifesto. There is nothing special in you coming to launch a market that you already launched. No, do it, deliver it, so that people can see that you kept your word. And you see, come 2027, people will gauge the president based on what he promised in the manifesto and what he delivered. And if I was him, I couldn't promise more. I could focus on delivering what I had already promised, so that we can go back to my manifesto or not, but not what I promised after I took in power. That's it? Yes.
Pretty much. Let's look at what this is doing to the president. And you and I will be the judge of character here. Well, your critics say, if you indeed think that the president is lying, then why is it still very popular across the country that everywhere where he goes, he's got masses of people willing to listen to the president and receive his promises, because indeed he does deliver. Question is, has this negatively impacted on the popularity of the president, and how? And if you say yes, how are you going to judge that, Augustine? Because the only way for me to judge it is, can I see how well is being received? Yesterday he was in Chuka, and there were masses of people who thronged Chuka to go and see the president, and he promised them that market again. Has it impacted on him?
You see, politically, well, we all agree that having big masses does not mean that you are taking that you will win the next election. Raila Amolo Odinga once had a very good liking all over the country. He could pull crowds all over, in his zones and the zones that were not his.
Yes.
And these Kenyans never voted him as the president. So people voting you as the president and people coming for your rallies are two different things.
Yes.
People who vote for you will definitely see what you did to them. Did you deliver what you promised? And you even, that's why people have very many areas vote other leaders out, because they have not delivered. They'll vote the president, but they'll not vote the MP. They'll vote them out. So what this government should not do, this government should not panic in terms of what they are delivering. Instead, they should take that energy and focus it in delivering for Kenyans, so that when come 2027, people are able to see, because the only way to dismantle a fact is by seeing that fact come to pass. That's when now you can say, if people were saying that you said you will do this and you didn't do it, it is very true that people will say that you didn't do it.
That's it.
The reason why you're seeing people are calling Kasongo Mwongo is because he's relaunching what had already been relaunched. And people can see these things that are not happening in heaven, or they're happening in a special or in mood. No. They're happening here. And those people that are saying that these things have been relaunched, those people are there when those things were being relaunched. He should stop relaunching projects that he had already relaunched. He can relaunch a project that was launched by Uhuru Kenyatta maybe because the contractor, or they have changed contractor, or maybe it has been awarded to another person, but he should not relaunch what he has already launched before. Number two, these projects that he's promising people to do, or some of it, we're talking about a 1 billion project in Kisii building and hospital, they should be anchored in our budget so that we are not going to take loans or maybe take. And you see, the president, they took a very good initiative of doing public-private partnership in these projects, and that was a very good route. If he can focus on that area, it can really help us move forward as a country and help us not to have serious loans in terms of what to pay.
Yes.
But now, you see, if he is promising these things and we don't have this money, then definitely that's a questionable character. We should tell the president, calm down, remove these cars, go back, work, let your people do this work, let your work talk to people. Don't go to talk to people. Let your work talk to them, so that when you appear, it is them forcing you that we need you to go for a second time. Let not the president force people into a second term, two term. Two term is not delivered. Two term was not in his manifesto when he was campaigning for us. He was campaigning for us to deliver. Right now, him telling us about two term, that is not what he promised Kenyans. He promised Kenyans to deliver. Let his work take into that 2 term without being on top of cars. So let the president use this time to ensure that he restructures. He comes back and sits down with this team and ensure that they go back to their manifesto, ensure that they deliver. Those things that they will deliver will speak for him come 2027. Him telling us 2 term now will not help him come 2027, because we will want to help him account. And he should talk with these MPs to ensure that most of these projects that are within the national government, these MPs ensure that these things are done as per their local area so that people can benefit. Yes. And he should also work with the county government to ensure that if this project that he promised, for example, a market that falls within the county government, let him support this county government to deliver this project. This will not only help that particular governor, but will help him, because he will say that I stood with your governor to ensure that this project was done. That's but let him going on top of vehicle the way he's doing does not deliver us what he promised.
Oof. Do you believe that the president should get out of, on top of the vehicles, and deliver on his manifesto? That's the question that we asked this morning. And this launches, are they launches or relaunches? Is a question that we've been asking you this morning at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. Talk to us on our sublines right there on your screen, and we shall be sampling and talking to you about this before the end of this week. This week, isn't it? Good. Mr. Omondi, thank you very much for coming by, man. Always a pleasure hosting you. All right, take him back online at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. I'll see you tomorrow again for another conversation. Good morning and goodbye.
We value your feedback and welcome